We literally cannot talk about movie stars ruining their career by opening their mouth and talking about things that have nothing to do with the movies that they are promoting without mentioning the one and only Brie Larson. It all started with Sundance speech at 2011 when she said, and I quote, "I don't need a 40-year-old white dude to tell me what didn't work for him about A Wrinkle in Time. It wasn't made for him." So she literally went on and bashed a white male guy who is a film critic. And then she said, "Oh, it wasn't like literally about him. I just want more inclusion and diversity in movie and film criticism." Yes, you could have done that without saying it was not made for him and you don't want to hear what he has to say. And we cannot mention Brie Larson without mentioning the Marvel Captain Marvel press tour. That was the most overly political and alienating press tour I have ever witnessed. And of course, because of her speeches about feminism, inclusivity, how this movie is made for this audience and that audience and not for the male and the white male and this and that, of course, it followed by online bombing and trolling, which made Rotten Tomato actually stop reviewing movies and rating movies before the movie comes out. Like, they banned it, they blocked it. They don't allow people to rate movies before the movies come out, even if you are a critic who watched a movie and you want to rate the movie before. So the whole Brie Larson controversy is not about like a personal misconduct. It's just her opening her mouth and talking about things that have no place or space in the movie industry. Or at least they should not, in my opinion. All right, let's check out this video by The Critical Drinker.
You know, there's a certain career path that young actresses can stray down if they get too much fame and success too quickly. Ego takes over, they start to believe their own hype, and end up turning everyone against them by acting like insufferable clowns. It happened to Rachel Zegler for sure, but there was another actress who blazed the trail for women like Rachel to follow, who set the template for career self-destruction, who walked so that others could run. That actress was Brie Larson.
Is that like a personal attack or something?
Now, she's practically a forgotten footnote in film history at this point, but skip back to 2019, and Brie Larson really did have the world at her feet. Not literally, of course. I don't think anyone wants to get near those feet.
Don't be mean! Oh, man.
The point is, she was very much a rising star in Hollywood that was poised to go supernova. An Oscar-winning actress who was just as comfortable with indie movies as big-budget action flicks, who'd landed a starring role as the new face of the biggest franchise on the planet. She was being positioned as the new it girl in Hollywood, the next megastar that was going to dominate the industry for at least a decade. But all too soon, the dream came crashing down in a slow-motion train wreck of PR disasters, fake activism, embarrassing revelations, and career-ending box office bombs. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't quick, but it does make for a great episode of Crash and Burn, the Brie Larson story. So pull up a chair and allow me to tell you the tale. Brianne Sidonie Desaulniers, fucking really?
What?
Was born in California in 1989
I would not be able to repeat
rich parents who educated her at home, which left her shy and socially awkward. A messy divorce when she was 7 left Brie with only her mother to support her and fostered a lifelong resentment towards her father, which kind of explains her actions in later life, but we'll get to that shortly. Anyway, with an interest in acting and music, Brie and her mum relocated to Los Angeles so that she could pursue a career. A series of minor roles in TV shows and indie movies followed, and a short stint as a wannabe pop star that I'm sure everyone would rather forget. But it was her performance in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World that first brought her mainstream attention. She was on the map now and booking more roles, but her rise to stardom wasn't exactly meteoric. She still had to slog through forgettable low-budget slop over the next few years like The Trouble with Bliss, The Spectacular Now, and Trainwreck.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Her big break finally came with 2015's Room, a psychological drama about a mother imprisoned with her son for years in an abandoned cell. The movie was a big hit with critics, earning rave reviews and even bagging Larson an Oscar win.
No
Nice
way, I've
going,
never
Brie.
seen that one.
By now, Hollywood was well and truly taking notice of Brie Larson. She seemed to have it all. A solid acting pedigree, high-profile awards, and a good reputation with critics. 2017's Skull Island saw her move into big-budget action films, proving that she could hold her own against top-level level actors. The film brought in over $500 million worldwide, making it by far the biggest movie of her career. So far, at least. In 2016, Larson was cast as Carol Danvers for the upcoming MCU movie Captain Marvel, and on the surface, this all seemed like great news. The MCU was at the height of its popularity, and a starring role in one of their films wasn't just a guaranteed payday for the next 10 years, it was a ticket to the big leagues. Brie Larson was on her way to being the next big A-list star, and everyone knew it. What they didn't know was that the seeds of her career destruction had just been sown. See, Captain Marvel was billed as the first female-led Marvel movie, the start of a new era of diversity and representation for the franchise, so interest was running higher than usual, and it wasn't all positive. Critics were quick to point out that the MCU already had the ideal candidate for a female-led movie in Black Widow, a more popular character played...
And guess what they did with that? They gave us a movie about Black Widow after she was dead, when nobody cared anymore. Why did you wait so long? You had the perfect person. When everybody wanted it, they didn't listen. They back then didn't listen to the fans. I don't know about today. Maybe they kind of listen today, and maybe we're going into a better future. But back then, that was a big issue. And that was a big poo-poo they made. Because I really did not care about Captain Marvel, and I hated the movie.
By a bigger actress. Forcing Captain Marvel into the mix so late in the game seemed like a weird move by a studio that was normally pretty good at this sort of thing. When the first trailer launched in 2018, it was absolutely lambasted, not just for making the character seem overpowered and not particularly likeable, but also for Brie Larson's performance. There's just no way of putting this gently. She looked fucking miserable, like some giant sponge soaking all the fun out of the movie. Also, by this point, people weren't exactly thrilled with the idea of another unstoppable girl boss being crowbarred into another franchise that had done perfectly well up until now. Add all this together and you had a PR shitstorm the likes of which the MCU had never experienced before. And right at the centre of it all was Brie Larson herself. Suddenly people were taking notice of her and what she had to say, and well, it turns out she had a lot to say for herself. Not only did she seem to have a real problem with men, and white men in particular,
I do not need a 40-year-old white dude to tell me what didn't work for him about A Wrinkle in Time. It wasn't made for him.
There's that paternal childhood resentment coming back to haunt her. But she also came across as prickly and unlikable, especially when she had to do interviews with other Marvel actors.
I do all my stunts.
I did my stunts because I thought that that's what everyone did. And then
Tom Cruise over here?
No, I'll be the first me, not the next Tom Cruise. Thank you very much.
Wow.
How dare he? How dare he compare her to Tom Cruise? One of like the biggest Hollywood stars out there. And when it comes to stunts, one of the most known, like the legend of stunts out there. I'm gonna be me. Okay, that's why nobody's talking about you now.
Now, I can't say for sure what was going on here. Maybe they were all just having a bad day and tempers were fraying, but it didn't seem to matter. You only get one chance to make a first impression, and Larson's one wasn't good. She came across just as arrogant, combative, and humorless as the character she was playing, a prickly and entitled actress who seemed to think she was better than everyone else. And for her critics, well, it was just extra ammunition. Just like Ghostbusters, Captain Marvel and its star became a lightning rod for controversy and online culture wars in a way that no other MCU project ever had. But there wasn't
like
much
this
they
face
could do
she has the whole
for
time.
the best. And
did you notice the whole time she's like answering people's comments? Like, I don't even hear what she's saying, but I can already hear how sarcastic and how annoyed she is by these questions. Like, how dare you even ask me that?
public, at least, it all seemed to go. Wasn't much they could do except soldier on and hope for the best. And in public, at least, it all seemed to go well. The movie raked in over $1 billion, got the usual round of glowing reviews from the mainstream media, and the MCU bandwagon rolled on. But behind the scenes, it was a very different story. The fan backlash had rattled Marvel hard. Nothing like this had ever happened to them before. Yeah, the movie made a ton of money, but it was a Pyrrhic victory at best if half the audience hated not just the main character, but the actress playing her as well. well, action had to be taken, so Captain Marvel's role in Endgame was slashed down to a glorified cameo. Plans to make her the new face of the franchise were quickly shelved, and the character was put on ice while they waited for the controversy to die down. And it wasn't just Disney backing away from her either. If there's one thing Hollywood casting directors hate, it's controversial and divisive stars who can torpedo projects just by association. Suddenly all those film offers seemed to dry up, and Larson found herself stranded in the acting wilderness. She had to do something to reinvent her public persona, and with most people stuck at home by the unspecified virus of unknown origin, she decided to take the bull by the horns and launch her own YouTube channel focused on, well, herself.
Feminism.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Now, don't get me wrong, there's definitely actors out there with the charisma and the personality to sell something like that. Unfortunately, Brie Larson wasn't one of them. Attempts at quirky, down-to-earth relatability came across as staged, forced and cringy. She looked awkward and uncomfortable without a script to work from, and she struggled to engage with the guests who were clearly paid to be there. It was performative normality, like rich politicians trying to appeal to regular people by drinking beer that they've never tasted, or eating junk food they don't know how to handle. The harder she tried to act down-to-earth and spontaneous, the more stiff and out of touch she seemed. It was kind of ironic, really. After winning so many awards for her acting skills, her most challenging role turned out to be herself. Interest in the channel waned and views flatlined, and within a year, she pulled the plug to focus on saving what was left of her acting career.
You know what I feel also happens with these actors is that they act certain roles and they lose themselves in these roles. They don't know, they don't have an identity, they don't have a saying. They just like follow something, someone, they follow a thing, an idea, and they like on repeat, but they definitely like lose the emotions, empathy, and anything that is normal for us that we can relate with. You know, like she's not relatable at all. And she constantly looks damaged. She constantly looks like she doesn't want to be there. She doesn't want to do. You started your own channel. You should be the most excited about it. You should be so happy about it. It looks like somebody paid you to be there, which is not the case. You paid other people to be there with you. I don't know. It seems very ungrateful as well.
That's right. It was time to revisit Captain Marvel.
How long will you play Captain Marvel for?
I don't know. Does anyone want me to do it again?
Bro, I never saw this one. That's so passive aggressive. Do you want me to do it again? I don't know. Do you even care? Why are you asking me?
Don't be so modest.
I don't know. I really don't know. I don't have the answer to that.
The Marvels, as it was eventually
not
known,
modesty.
would turn out to be Larson's make or break movie. If she could
That's
repeat the success of the
guilt-tripping
first
us.
film, it might just get her out of acting jail and back on track to the Hollywood A-list. On the other hand, if it flopped, it would be proof that the first movie was nothing but a fluke coasting on the MCU's momentum. The future of the character, Larson's future in Hollywood, it all depended on the Marvels being a hit. Yeah, so that didn't happen. The Marvels turned out to be the most humiliating disaster in MCU history, pulling in barely $200 million worldwide, getting scathing reviews and crushing audience scores. The question of whether Captain Marvel, and with it Brie Larson's career, could be salvaged had been answered once and for all. This wasn't just a setback, it was full-on career implosion. So where is she now? Well, with her movie career basically stalled out, she retreated to theatre work and was last spotted acting in the stage play Electra in London's West End, which the Evening Standard described as an impenetrable slog, and that Larson brought layers of bitterness, resentment and desperation to the lines. Damn man, I can't imagine why. Brie Larson had officially crashed and burned. The role that was supposed to make her career ended up breaking it. In just a few short years, she went from Hollywood's next golden girl to a cautionary tale for PR managers everywhere. No matter what, you need to learn how to shut the fuck up. And hey, on the plus side, it seems like Larson finally learned that lesson herself when reporters tried to bait her into commenting on the Johnny Depp situation.
Curious how you feel about Johnny Depp's film opening the festival, and do you plan to see it?
You're asking me that?
Yes.
I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't understand the correlation, or why me specifically.
Yeah, it all came a few years too late.
Yeah, this is exactly what your answer should have been. From the start, if you don't know what you're talking about, shut your mouth. You have a whole career that would cost you your whole livelihood. You're so young. You have so many years ahead. Like, Don't make your mouth stop you. Be smarter. The less you say, the better it is.
She absolutely wanted to answer that question, but hey, it's still progress, I guess. So are we ever going to see Brie Larson on the big screen again? And if so, can she possibly claw her way back to the top of the Hollywood
Not in
fame
Marvel,
mountain?
though.
Well,
maybe in some other
probably
movies,
not, if I'm
serious
honest.
movies.
She's been in the wilderness for too long now. She's too old to make a comeback, and a new
No,
generation
she's
of
not.
actresses have come up to replace her. The
Oy,
world
oy.
has moved on from Brie Larson, and there she stands, a sad example of what might have been, a monument to the hubris of fame and the fragility
Giving
of
her a whole
celebrity. But
goodbye.
hey, at least she made a great episode of Crash and Burn. Anyway, that's all I've got for today.
We're honest,
Go away
though.
now.
We are honest. We are not mean. We are just trying to like educate the future generation to not do the same thing. Hopefully Sydney Sweeney doesn't open her mouth and talk about things that are not interesting to her. Also, I feel like her views, her perspective is completely different. That anything, she's way open, you know, like she is way sexual and very uncomfortable as a human, in my opinion, like as a woman. So I don't know, but she at least is very confident and she doesn't care, and that's her way of moving on. And I don't really mind. Like, we can talk about the Sydney Sweeney controversy with the jeans and whatnot, and I'm probably gonna make a movie about it because I can't believe this cancel culture, this Twitter tweets or whatever you call them, like how much they want to cancel someone. I have a personal story as well to share with you, but in the next video, hopefully. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and see you next time. Bye.